it became a reality without any tuition, without any coaching. I aspire to be a CA, that is my objective.
It was a surprise. It wasn't an expectation, it was a surprise. But she is capable of it.
Better technology can surely help us in our education. The main thing is that the implementation of the rules and regulations need to be done with more efficiency.
Good evening, you're watching this special edition of Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. On the programme today, I'm going to borrow a cliched phrase. It's that time of year again where, depending on what you've scored, whether it's above 95% or below 95%, you could be extremely happy and ecstatic, or you could be in extreme despair because the CBSE board exam results are out. Many students from class 12 have got their results from the CBSE this week, as have students from other boards, and once again, the results are sky high. There are students who've scored up to 99%, and the Delhi University cutoffs are going to be out soon. There's a fear that once again you could see cutoffs reaching 99 and even 100%. That had caused considerable controversy last year. On the program tonight, we're going to be looking at the achievements and the super achievements of those youngsters who have crossed that 90% barrier, how they've done it, because at the end of the day, it does require an incredible effort to be able to study like that and to be able to get these marks. But also, we need to look at a bigger and more fundamental question. Are we going to define the success of a student by these marks alone? How are we going to judge students in the long term? Is it going to be only by this class 12 paper? Is there a better way for us to improve the system? What suggestions do we need to put forward to the government in terms of solutions to improve the system? And what are the options kids have? If you don't score 90%, if you've got 85%, if you've got 65%, what are the options that you have going forward from here? Well, we have a terrific panel on the show with us this evening. First of all, we've got Usha Albuquerque, education consultant, someone who's been advising kids for years on what career options they have. Dr. Jitendra Nagpal is a senior psychiatrist and in charge of the school mental health program at Moolchand Medicity. Also joining us today, we have two very well-known school principals. Dr. Annie Koshi is with us of St. Mary's School, and Lata Vaidyanathan, the former principal of Modern School Barakhamba. Also with us is well-known radio jockey Richa, who's been doing her own kind of counselling on the radio, listening to students who've been calling her in for advice. And we've got three toppers, and in fact many other toppers, but three in particular from the class 12 board exams. We have Tapas Bhardwaj, a student of DPS RK-Puram. He's visually impaired and has made this incredible achievement of scoring more than 90% in his board exam. 457 out of 500 is his score. Maithili Mishra, a student of Amity School, Noida, she secured the second position across India in the class 12 examination, and Brinda Singh, also of the Amity School, scoring above 96%. So let me talk about the individual stories first and how all these kids did it. Brinda, let me ask you first. How did you get 96%?
Firstly, I was never thinking I'll be really studying so hard in these exams, because I'm even a badminton player. So my main focus was on that. But you know, because I had interest in my the subjects that I had, so I went about it the whole year. You can't just have that mindset, okay, if you have 2 months and you'll be able to do it. It's not so. You need to put in a lot of efforts the whole year, and it's not necessary to study 12 or 14 hours a day. Even if you're studying that quality study for 2 or 3 hours, it's more than enough.
So consistency was your secret?
Yeah, consistency.
Couple of hours a day every day?
Yeah.
Even in the holidays?
Yeah.
And your badminton, so you didn't stop that?
No. Because that's again very important, because it gives me a lot of, I should say, confidence, and to, you know, just get the stress out of me all the time. So that's one of the major X factors that is really important.
Maithili, is that what you did as well, or did you notch it up to 12 hours a day?
Right before the boards, yes, way more than 12, I'd say.
Really?
But yes. But I don't study according to hours. I don't wake up in the morning thinking, okay, today I will study for 18 hours. That's not what I do. I woke up, I thought I have to do these many chapters a day. Now I could take 5 hours doing that, I could take 15 hours, it didn't matter. It was mainly course-wise and subject-wise. That's what I did. The hours didn't really matter.
But how stressed were you before the boards, honestly?
Everyone was stressed. All my friends were having mental breakdowns. Monday they had WhatsApp, Tuesday they didn't because they had to study somehow. But I did not delete any social media, let me just tell you.
What, your friends deleted themselves from social
many
media?
did.
Everyone did. I mean, I would go through my WhatsApp contact list seeing off, and I'd know, oh, they're studying. Maybe I should be studying too. Maybe. I don't know. So I think at the back of their mind, they were all thinking that WhatsApp might be a distraction, Facebook might be a distraction, but I don't think it really was, because if you don't have social media, you'll take a half-an-hour break and loiter around your house. But if you do, you'll take 5 minutes, check your messages, reply, get back to studying.
And you missed the top position by what? Some point something %?
1 mark.
Just
One mark.
one mark is what made
One
you miss
mark.
that top position. My God, that's amazing. Tapas, tell us about, your incredible achievement as well. I mean, how much did you end up studying every day? I've just heard anywhere from a couple of hours to 18 hours. So you tell me your...
That's an exaggeration.
Okay, 15.
I followed the concept of 5 Ps. I had a passion and I performed accordingly. And it's not that just that I scored 100 in my pre-boards, but I was patient. Yes, success will come to me. And I got the perfection, and then I got a position. I am topper in special category in India. So passion followed by performance, followed by patience, followed by perfection, followed by position. When you study, I believe it's not that you need to study for 18 hours, 12 hours. When you study, all the connections should be cut, whether you are studying for 2 hours or whether you are studying for 1 hour.
When you say the connections should be cut, you mean you just literally closed yourself off from your friends and...
Not really. I am just talking in terms of the time when we are studying, because...
You mean the focus has to be...
The focus has to be there. Concentration and consistency needs to be there to do it.
And what's your favorite subject? What is it in particular that you enjoy doing?
I like legal studies, law, and that's what I'll be pursuing it. I got a rank 1 in law entrance in IP University All India in special category, and in CLAT I got an All India rank of 35 in special category. So that's what I like it, and I will be doing in the coming years.
That's absolutely wonderful, and good luck to all three of you. You've done exceedingly well. So many congratulations to all three of you. Let me get the principals in. Lata Vaidyanathan, when you hear about these youngsters, their incredible achievements and what the cutoff may be like, how do you feel? I guess it's a mixture of pride and also some concern, isn't it?
As principals, it's very interesting. Your first response when the results come is as if you have got it all, because every year these children will leave the premises and go away, but we are there forever in a way. So you feel like your results have come. But on a deeper thought, that's just your first response. But on a deeper thought, if you heard them all very correctly, it is that they are focusing on the strategies. It is about how do you crack it? What will get you that absolute marks? Is it number of hours of study? Is it the strategy of how you'll go about it? How are you emotionally detached, attached, social media, whatever entertainment, whatever sport, whatever makes you different? And how, as he just explained his own position in the form of 5 Ps. So each one is focusing on a certain strategy to get there. The whole question the larger question to an educator is, does the marks actually reflect the competence in the subject? Yeah. Does it really say something about how much of a subject that you really know? But none of them are to be blamed, because if that finally decides that that is what is going to get you an entrance somewhere, then you don't blame them for it. Also, is this the only way that you'll make it to the college of your choice? So I think there's all other kinds of pressures, and then you build up strategy to crack it, to win it, to make it. And you often hear not only just these students, but look at IITs and others, you will hear the word, I cracked the code, I cracked the exams. I think the whole issue is boiling down to what is the skilling required in dealing with an exam rather than anything else. So it is a matter of concern, I think, to educators to look at the overall picture of evaluation and assessment, admissions and availability, access to good colleges, quality. I think if you start listing the number of things that we need to really focus on, it is a big game, and we really need to think. And when you look at it from a point of view of how world across things are happening, I think there is a lot of gap between achievement in terms of marks, success rates in life, professional competence, domain competence, and also soft skills and what makes you win.
What I want to understand first is, Annie Koshi, that how have the marks gone up like this? Because at my time, and I can now comfortably say there was a my time once upon a time, long time ago, we used to get, 75, 80%, and that was, good enough to get into a really good college. And now it's above 95%. What has happened to the marking system to make it like this? I mean, how does a student get 100% in, say, psychology or English?
Well, I think in their effort to be objective, because obviously once marking has been done, the question is how did you give marks like this comes up. So in their effort to be objective, the questions are now, sort of very focused to give you 3 answer points or 2 answer points. If you get those 2 answer points, it doesn't make a difference how you've written it. It doesn't make a difference that your sentences are, sort of strung together properly, or you've used right vocabulary. Have you got those 2 points? You get your 2 marks. And so, which is why when Lata says that these marks are not a reflection of ability, in fact, it would be very interesting to see that who has actually scored in the competitive exams, and is there a correlation between their board marks and the competitive. Also, I mean, when you hear about people who've done really well in life, nobody comes back to say that, oh, they topped the CBSE board. They're usually from some official town somewhere, but have worked forward, So I, for one, really think that I wonder that are the children actually ready for life in terms of character? In the sense, you need strength to get up when you fall. If you're winning at this level, when you do fall, of course, the fall will be really, hard. But can you get up then? Do you have that strength? And while all of us are very happy when we see these marks and our children are going to get into colleges, we really wonder, what's going to happen in their lives after that. Because getting into college is one thing. But living a life, living it, with integrity, with empathy to the other, in this acquisitive culture that is so prominent today, this moving ahead, stamping over someone or on someone to move ahead. We don't want that amongst our children. And I think this fight for marks actually brings that to the fore.
I first just want to talk about also the kind of pressure that parents are under and then end up putting their kids under. And I'll come to that in just a moment. But I just wanted to ask Richa on this, on what Annie Koshi was saying about colleges. I get a sense, and I think when we were in college as well, that when you were leaving school, you thought that that was the end of the world, which college you went to, whether it was a Stephens or an LSR or a Xavier's or whatever, that your life would end if you didn't go to these colleges. Whereas when you leave that life behind, you realize that, oh, well, I mean, it's
that was
great.
Just a stopover in the journey.
Yeah, and there's so much more to life. And and you've been getting calls from young people on your radio show, I guess really sort of worried about which institution they'll go to, right?
Nidhi, before that, the amount of the truckloads of stress that the kids and parents have been through last few weeks and months. Can we have a round of applause for the efforts? For
that's a good
toppers. Brilliant. And like Nidhi, you were saying, back then, that seemed like the most important thing. For a 12th class student or for a person who's going to start college very soon, this is the most important zone. This is it. But Nidhi, ma'am, you, and when we look back, we realize, all right, so I have survived those 70%, that 65%, that 80%. And, now I'm a radio presenter. Okay. The percentage that I got back in school and college, I thought I was a very bright student, but now I look at 98% and I go, okay, so times have changed. And
how?
And how? Doctors, engineers. I'll just quickly tell you an incident. My Princey called my dad. I scored 84% and she said, she's gone nuts, she's choosing commerce. And my father was like, thankfully, my parents were supportive enough to say, ki, "Usse jo lena hai lene do, koi baat nahi, nahi banana doctor, engineer." At that time also, I did not know where I was going. Then I did my bachelor's in business administration and I did not know where I was going. And here I am, a radio presenter. So I think it's important.
But you're doing something you love and you're successful at it.
Exactly.
That's the point.
That's where I'm coming to.
Yeah.
That's what I'm coming to. So it's important to be on the path, to be honestly putting in the efforts, If marks come by, great. But if you're honest in your heart and you know that you've given your best, I think this is a derived depression also, because people who are sponsoring your education, our parents, obviously they have expectations. Our teachers, they're giving in their best, you know, they're putting in efforts. So you feel accountable ki yaar, teacher kya bolega, parents kya bolenge, I have to perform.
Or peers. There's a lot of peer pressure too, isn't
So
there?
this is more of a derived depression. It's not of our own genesis. So I think I've been there. And it's a really bad phase. So now, all I have learned after talking to people, I talk to students all the time. They call into the show. Srishti called into my show day before yesterday and she said, I'm really upset. She was howling. I thought she flunked. And I was like, okay, calm down. What is it? And she said, yeah, 82%. This is not done. And I said, Are kya ho gaya? That response would not have calmed her down. So I said, so what's bothering you? Did you do any cheat movies, cheat conversations? So she said, no, I studied. And I said,
really well.
Yeah, I studied.
In the normal world, 82% is excellent.
I studied. And I said, listen, if you're honest, if you're satisfied with what you did, you know exactly what you're going to be doing next time. You know what not to do. And you know exactly what you're absolutely supposed to do.
I just want to take off on that from that point, you know, that Richa made about colleges and ask Usha Albuquerque this question as somebody, you know, you've talked to students for years. And isn't there a lot of peer pressure as well? And, you know, obviously Delhi University, if you look at that, has that handful of colleges. It's a demand and supply thing, a handful of colleges that are considered the best. Then you have, you know, surveys that come out every year. These are the top 10 colleges. And I think a lot of students feel that if they don't get into those top 3 or 4, that, you know, that's the end for them, and that's not. How do you get that message across that there is life beyond, you know, these 3 or 4 institutions?
I'm glad you brought that up, Nidhi, because I think the problem really is, to take off also from what Richa said, is when I have students who come in to say, ma'am, you know, I've done so badly, this first sentence, and I say, okay, what is it? Expecting 60s and 70s, and it's 92%. You know, that's what makes me really feel angry at the system that allows a brilliant child that got 92% or even anything above 80% to feel they've done badly.
Yeah.
And the reason is twofold. One is, unfortunately, this marking system in CBSE and now even the ICSE is absolutely the incorrect way of evaluating any student. You cannot evaluate a student on what they perform in that exam, which doesn't even require them to put out the kind of information, the knowledge they've gained, the skills they've learnt, nothing. It's just memorization of whatever is required in that objective type question. And it is for that reason, those who can do it, perform and get in, but as a result of which now more and more are learning how to, as you say, get the system, crack the system, and all you're doing is regurgitating whatever you've got in and putting it out onto that system. That's one problem on the schooling. The second is our college system. There are so few good colleges. So within the kind of parameters of what everybody wants to, I mean, if you are an 80+ student, you should have access to the top institutions in the country as they are anywhere else in the world. Why do we not have many more LSRs, St. Stephen's, Miranda, whatever it is, or many others? Now, I do feel that now the private sector has come in. There are alternatives, but now we also need to change the mindset of parents and others who are willing to accept that there could be very good options in Bombay University or Pune or Bangalore or Calcutta or elsewhere. Delhi is not the only place, and there are huge number of opportunities in so many different courses. And the third point I'd like to make is that every success in life doesn't need marks. Marks is only one factor that goes into what makes you successful in life. And sometimes I've come across so many who've actually failed. I've had so many students who failed in school and they've come back. One who's become a computer game designer, who's even got a game design patented by an American company. He failed once, and the second time he had to do it through open learning. There's somebody who's failed and done exceedingly well in an area of HR. You know, so it's not necessary that you need marks. Yeah. What you need is so many, like Lata was saying, you do need the soft skills, you need the emotional quotient of being able to know how to deal with your classmates and with so many other people.
Those are excellent points. And the point is, and now I come to the parents, and I'll ask Dr. Nagpal this, that do you feel that actually it's the parents who end up being more stressed during board exam time and then kind of channel that onto their children, and it just ends up being a sort of vicious cycle?
Undoubtedly. I think I'll begin with a small anecdote. Today morning I had a family coming to me, and the issue of life, success and happiness was discussed, as we are already into it. The issue is now that are we looking at a bottleneck around 12th class, which is actually leading us to define happiness of life for the first time by only high marks, as has been discussed. Secondly, the comparisons and the expectations and the forthrightness of a parent to complete their own dreams through their own children, and not allowing them to live their own dreams. We had 3 members here telling us, but I heard the word mental breakdown also. So I was a little amused that yes, that's the reason why mental breakdowns happen very early, very easily, and to a large numbers. We are the largest youth in the world at the moment, 60 crores of young people. And ma'am says rightly, do we have the systemic changes happening, or we expect only the child to change? Systemic changes include the infrastructure, the number of colleges, the number of varieties of offerings which the boards are offering. Why do we always have to blame the board? I do not agree to that. I would say that yes, if we never got high marks, we were anyway having breakdowns. Okay, when we get high marks, we are not ready to celebrate as a nation. We should celebrate. On the other hand, I think the story of success akin to the number of marks I score has never been a correlate, as both the principals told us. You have enough literature, enough research in life and success and happiness that, including Abdul Kalam's both books tell us that being a topper in the school is no correlate to be a success human being in life. Fair enough. But let's
then what happens when we become parents and then we turn into these, I see a mother sitting next to you who's probably guilty.
Parents are driven.
Yeah.
Let's ask the schools also.
Yeah.
There are schools who publicize the toppers. There are papers who talk about the toppers. The media holds a responsibility also, because I think we do have to put the onus on the family. But the family is what? It familiarizes with what happens around them, no? And the fault lies where they start pushing the child to the edge of maybe a suicidal intent, helplessness, hopelessness, a sense of self-worth. Nidhi said, Richa said rightly, somewhere I think while they get the calls on the radio, we get calls on the helplines.
Yeah.
That can I just avoid 12th standard exam? And in the pre-boards I got 94, but they insist that I should be a doctor and not a radio jockey. I cannot be this, I cannot be that. So I think the process of choosing what I wish to do and love to do in life is not only at the 12th class.
Let me just ask you, ma'am, because you're a parent. I saw you smiling there when I was talking about, are you a nervous parent? Is your daughter going to be appearing for the exams?
Not so much, but a bit. As he said, according to the surroundings, we have to push a bit to do something.